Hello YouTube, welcome back to another tutorial episode for beginners. Today we are going to look at steel and the parts that are made for it. So we have some iron down here and coal just over there. So if you didn't know, you need iron and coal to make steel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put the miners down there, and there, connect them up to the factory, run as power through those miners, then up to the factory floor, and then we will come back to you. Okay, so now that's done, we have 60 and 60, which is 120 iron coming in, and the coal node over there is actually a pure node. It's 120, so we have 120 coal and 120 iron coming on in. So now we want to make steel ingots. However, we can't do that with a smelter anymore. We need to use a foundry. So if we place this down here, it's kind of like an oversized smelter, and then we need to switch it to steel ingots, and as you can see, 45 a minute iron, 45 a minute coal to get 45 a minute steel. So we need to do some math again. So we have 120 coming in, and it needs to be divided by 45, which gives us 2.6 machines. So which would mean 2 and then your 0.6. Again, you remember we can shard these up and make this much bigger and produce a much more. But for the sake of the tutorial, we're just going to carry on like this. So we have two materials to get into the back of these. Now, your first concern will probably be the fact that if you do this, and then you've got your coal, so you've got your iron and you've got your coal, and you put that in there and that in there, and that's all well and good, but you've got other machines to fill. So we know that's not going to work, and if you start crossing them, it just looks horrid. So there is a particular way I like to do this to make sure that we can split these lines between three machines and have it look neat at the same time. So I'll show you how I like to do it. First of all, you've got two inputs per, so connect it to that one and then have the input just turning around facing outwards. So in, like that. Do that with all three. So there's your inputs there. Now, two ways of doing this part. You can either be lazy or you can make it look really neat and tidy. Splitters. So we need to split these. To make it look neat and tidy, you would put 3 up like that. And then you could remove the bottom 2. And then what you do is you delete that and then put it in again, and it will actually connect properly. So then when this splits items off, it'll go straight into the machine. That's the neat and tidy way of doing it. But if you're not bothered about it looking neat and tidy, you can just click it right on the end of them, like that. And as you can see, it's kind of weird because you'll see the parts coming out at the bottom of there and it's clipping, but it depends on what you like. That's a nice fast and easy option. The other way, which we'll do the other way just so it's fresh for everyone who wants to build nice neat factories. So splitters, we want to go 1, 2, and then the direction, make sure your arrows are pointing in the right direction. We've touched that on the last 2 tutorials. So get them up and then select these and get rid. So they're ready to go. If we get rid of that, and get rid of that, we can now connect them up. And they will connect straight to the splitters like we just mentioned. And then get your splitters again. And now we go 1, 2, and then 3. But take the bottom one out, the middle one out. And then your bottom one wants to line up with that other output right there. And it looks like a mess, but you'll soon see how it goes together. So to the input, if we do that with all of them, this one to the input, this one to the input. Now the bottom input need to be connected together like that, and then the top input needs to be connected together. Now this little gap here, click again, and it'll connect those two together. That input to that input, and that input to that input. And there you have it all split up nice and neat. So bottom has one input and the top has the other. So for instance, coal in the bottom, iron in the top. So now what we need to do is we need to connect these three into these two holes. So the first thing I would probably do here is I'd put a merger down for this line, and we'll connect these. Let's make it look a bit neater in there, and then this can simply just go straight in, no problems. Turn it. If you can't get it to do a 45-degree angle, no worries, go straight, come back to, click it down, and then that'll perfectly give you a right angle to go in there. So now how do we get this up to there? What we can do is we could use one of these, and if we put it here, so if we go, this is a bit elaborate, but just to show you, we want it to go that way, and then here we'll go there to there, and then there, reverse it there. So what I've done is it now goes across there to this one, up that lift, over and down to this lift, comes across, goes up, and then we can bring it over. That would be the way I'd do it. There are probably much neater ways, much tidier and simpler ways, but just based off what I can see now and what I've got there and just putting it together, that's probably what I'd go with. Because you can't just run it that way straight away. Well, you probably could run it that way straight away actually. You could turn that way and then put it in, but never mind anyway. So we have, there's coal at the bottom, there's iron at the top, everything's being fed accordingly. So we need to change these to steel. That one's already steel. Change that to steel, and that to steel. And now all we need is a bit of power. So we bring the power lines over, put one between each one, and then connect them up. I didn't want that there. Connect that to that, and that to that. So now they're all making steel ingots. Lovely jubbly. So what are we making? Our output is 45, 45, which is 90, and then 45, sort of, because that's not going to be fully connected. So let's do Mark II belts, and let's merge them together. So go in that way, and then coming towards me. And we want Mark II belts. Connect those together. So now all the ingots are coming out, coming this way, and then we can fire them out this way. So that's how you make steel ingots. So now what we want to look at, if you press your Codex button and you go to parts, we need to know what we make out of steel. So we've got steel ingot there. Click on steel ingot, it'll give you that. Open that in Codex, it's there. And then you've got steel beams, steel pipes. From there you can move on, which is encased industrial beams and stuff, but we're just going to concentrate on steel beams and steel pipes because that's going to be the first two things you're going to need from steel. So steel beams first in a constructor, and steel pipes in a constructor. So let's have a look first at what the recipes are. So let's put 2 down. And let's go steel beams for that one. Steel pipe for that one. Okay, so steel pipes is 30 steel ingots a minute for 20 pipes. And steel beams is 60 per minute for 15 beams. So the beams are expensive. So 60 input and 30 input gives us 90. We're making 90 with 2 machines and then that little bit extra. So you're not going to need as many pipes as you are steel beams. But effectively, we don't know how much this one is making. Because going back to what I said earlier, it's 45 per minute in. But we only have 120 coming in and 3 machines. And 45, 90, 135 is what is needed. But we're only getting 120. So what I'm going to do is, the correct way to do this would be to run 2 machines only and then 2 machines only. But we're going to run an extra one just because we have a little bit extra going on. So we're going to turn this into beams. 2 sets of beams. And 1 steel. Now 30, 45, 45 is 90. I could split this into 3, which will give that a perfect 30. So let's go to a merger. Not a merger, sorry. We want a splitter. And if you remember before, because we're splitting into 3, it's very simple. Put it in there. That in that one, that in that one, and that in that one. So 90 split into 3 gives you 30 on this line, which is what this wanted anyway. And we don't need that many steel pipes yet. And then this wants 60, which is getting 30, and that's getting 30, and this wants 60. So it wants 120 there, but you're getting less because there's a 30 taken off. So we're actually getting 90 in there. But now that we've got that set up, let's get the power running. There we go. Put one there, connect these up. And there's your parts. Your basic steel parts that you'll need. And then from there, obviously, they run into storage or your logistics, which again could be a train or anything else. But for now, we're just going to run them into storage for the sake of the tutorial. And there you have your steel pipes and steel beams and your basic steel production. Now, in your world, you might want to scale this up. You might want, instead of just 3 machines, you might want 20, 30 machines. Much more resource intensive, but it's easily, you can see how easily you can just add a machine on, connect it on, add a machine on, connect it on. And then same with the splitting off. Splitting takes a little more thought, but it's basically the same idea. You're going to have 2 sets of machines doing 2 different parts, fill them up as equally as possible, and then store them. And there we have it. That is steel production in a box for you, quite literally. So again, if you have any questions, don't forget to hit me up in the comments if you have questions. Also, don't forget we have Discord. You can join the Discord, ask me questions, ask many other players in there questions. We all share ideas and information. So if you have any questions, they're the places to go. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.